People, Deluded, I'm back again. Fridays equals Q&A days. So yeah, man, at this point you already know what it is. As usual, I'm already very appreciative of the questions that await me, because I know you lot have come heavy. You lot always do. You know, I can't ask myself questions. I'll never be that sad though. And I always say no question is a stupid question. I like the diverse questions. It's also something to give back to you lot, and it helps with the interaction. Like I said, you know, this is probably going to be one of the last Q&As. We are going to stop. In fact, for some people, the Q&As is going to keep going. For others, it might be a less frequent thing / not a thing. But right now we're here. You know, I've got your questions in front of me. So let's attack the ones asked of me via YouTube, or better yet, the YouTube community tab. Papyrus said, why did we buy Cedric? He's barely played and we haven't missed him. Plus, Ainsley Maitland-Niles is still playing wing-back / full-back. Well, I think the signing of Cedric Soares might have been with Bellerin having cold feet and wanting to keep it moving, and, you know, Maitland-Niles' future. Right now, he's turned it around. He said he wants to stay, but it looked like one of the two, if not both, would go. I don't think both would be so, but one of them. And you could see why Cedric was brought in then, you know, cut price, experience, I get it, you know. Let's be honest, we haven't seen too much from Cedric, but in the minutes we've seen, I'm yet to be convinced. You asked this question before yesterday's game. You know, yesterday I think he didn't play as bad as people are making out. He got forward, he tried to make an angle, but his final ball was poor. You know, his delivery was poor. He weren't there, and I have to discount him a bit, because although I didn't believe in him as a signing, although I'm not necessarily fond of the player, I have to cut him some courtesy, because on one hand, you know, he was poor yesterday. He has to hold his hands up, but at the same time, when you're lacking match fitness, when you haven't been involved, when you throw a man straight in, how can they thrive? Like, again, the quality of Rapid Vienna and Man City are different, and I'm not excusing Pepe being poor for Pepe's sake, but at the same time, people, you know, you ain't using a man, he's barely played, you throw him in against City, you expect him to take his chance, but at the same time, he hasn't been able to get that match rhythm and that fluidity and whatnot. So how can they thrive? You know, we must set up a man to fail sort of thing. So I think that's why we went for Soares, simply put. Rion has said, hope you're well, DG, as usual. You said, was wondering if you watch the UFC, and if you do, who do you think will win out of Khabib and Grajic? I can't say his name, Gatit. You know me, I can't pronounce that, but I'm a Khabib fan. I'm going to go with Khabib, and I believe that's tomorrow, right? I'm not the biggest of UFC fans. I don't know everybody and all the statistics, but who doesn't like to watch fighting? If it's not football, you know, I'm watching UFC or boxing. You know, they're my sports, and I'm fond of the NFL now. I don't barely know the rules. I ain't no, you know, mad supporter in that, but I like the tactical stuff that goes with NFL, and I've been getting into basketball. Maybe that's because Arsenal are failing, but I've been getting into basketball, you know. Big up all the international fans in the Premier League. I always respect you lot for waking up early. That's us for when it comes to basketball. I can't do it too tough. It's a highlights thing for me. I've tried to stay up, I can't, man. Unless it's Arsenal, I can't stay up. But yeah, man, I think Khabib's got this, or better yet, I hope Khabib's got this. Diabolical said, in your opinion, who is the most underrated player in the Premier League? That's a tough one, and off the top of my head, early in the morning doing this, I actually can't think of one. Underrated. You know what, I might say Fabinho, you know, because Fabinho gets rated, but I don't think people deep, you know, he might not be the first, and admittedly I probably would change this, but people don't deep how good he can play at centre-half and right-back and centre-mid, really. Who else is there? There's some players, but I can't lie, Diabolical, man. I'm going to go with Fabinho right now. I'll probably change towards the end. I need to wake up the brain cells, man. I should have waited to answer that question. Faris has said, can Ozil refuse a payout to his contract and just stay until the end? Yes, he can. He doesn't have to. So, yeah. Carter Stages said, big up AFC Edmonton, we need more uploads. You know, make sure you're all subscribed to AFC Edmonton. You said, if we lose Touchwood against Leicester and Man United, do we have to consider Arteta, or is it the board to blame as we did not get Aouar? Well, Aouar, you know, the only relevance Aouar would have to those games is if we struggle to create, but it's not. You know, Edu would have to, I mean, Arteta, apologies, would have to face the music. You know, you would have to ask questions. It all depends on the manner of how we win, lose or draw, but you would have to ask questions of him, because, you know, it's his squad now. I know all the players weren't brought in, but he's been allowed to run the rules. He's been allowed to alienate creative players despite, you know, not bringing anybody in. So, you know, on one hand, Arteta probably has been set up to fail by the board, but at the same time, there are a lot of question marks around the team and surrounding the team that Arteta and only Arteta can solve. You know, attacking, you've got better attacking quality than we're playing to potential. That is on the players and on Arteta specifically. You know, it's not a thing where you look at our midfield and think, you know, you get out where we're creating chances, because we're not. You know, when Arteta came in instantly, you know, you could see us improving defensively, and you saw an improvement with certain players. But you could say, you know, you get another centre half, you see that what Arteta's trying to come with. You see with Gabriel now, we're looking at a different team. I don't think if I was slotted in right now, you know, our creative issues are solved purely because tactically we're not doing that as a team. One man can't change everything. So you would have to ask question marks. K. Jewis said, would love to hear you talk about any players who the broader Arsenal fan base hyped up or who are universally loved, who you never necessarily got behind. I might get in some trouble here, but I think Edu was a quality player, and I don't think he was overrated. I just feel Arsenal fans do this thing where they make out he was going to be Thierry Henry for us if he never got his injury. Don't get twisted, Edu was a quality player. He was going to go down as a better player. He was going to do big bits, but it's just some of the language I hear spoken about Edu, I just don't believe it. Again, don't misunderstand me. I share every Arsenal fan's opinion. Edu was a baller, underrated, and was going to be a big baller for this team before the injury. But that's what I feel. I feel people put him on a level, and the perception is moving from reality. Like, he would have been a good player. He wasn't going to be no Thierry Henry for us. You could see that. Top of my head, I'd say Hileb. I mean, not Hileb, sorry, not Hileb. In fact, Hileb, I think Hileb was a good player, very good player, very underestimated player, but I feel there's too many polarizing opinions, and there's not too many opinions that look at the truth. You know, I do think people make out Hileb was a world-class player, which he wasn't world-class. He was a very good one, and that's nothing to do with him. But I would say I'd say Alex Song as well. You know, another one I think put to a level he's not necessarily at, and this is not me calling these players bad. I'd say the biggest pick would be Jenkinson, because I didn't get the romance behind it. You know, I got, in fact, don't get twisted, I got it. He's an Arsenal fan living the Arsenal dream, but let's be honest, he was shit. Like, he was shit, pardon my language, and he has been. You know, yeah, he's living the dream, but I just didn't understand the language Arsenal fans were going with and cutting him a blind and whatnot. Him being an Arsenal fan and all them thing there, while I admire it, it's all irrelevant. And I can't fault Jenkinson. He did well. He did well to stay at Arsenal as long as he did. You know, he was punching. You know, he's been living the dream, and you've even heard Forest fans wanted to send him back to Arsenal after his game. So I'd say Jenkinson. I don't think Jenkinson ever had any qualities as a footballer, and it's a miracle that he plays for England. He played for England, and at the end of the day, credit to Jenkinson, because I'm sitting here in my room saying that, you know, he's played for Arsenal and he's played for his country. He's been a professional footballer. He's earned a lot of money. My opinion don't matter, but I'm allowed my opinion as a fan, and I think I couldn't see the qualities he had. Would love to know which specific, you know, manager or coaching staff sanctioned the signing of Jenkinson, actually scouted him and concluding this is a man that could nail down the right back spot, because it's blasphemy, it's nonsense. Like, I really don't understand how Jenkinson's a professional footballer. He really and truly, that's a bit harsh, but he's basic, man, mad basic. Moving forward, It's G Meda said, in Aubameyang's recent form since he signed the team, would you think if his form continues like this, he would give the same treatment that the club gave Ozil? I don't think there's any parallels between Ozil's situation and Aubameyang's situation. I think Aubameyang's going to play with complete integrity, if that answers your question. Faris has said, what young Arsenal player do you think can have a breakout season? I don't know. I hope it will be Balogun, Aziz or Ben Cottrell. Look at me, damn it, has said, what was the most frustrating shift or shifts at your last job? A bag of them as a production assistant. A bag of them, you know, a real bag of them. I'd say frustrating. I'd actually say when Arsenal played away from home at Man United last season, because, you know, Brian True Geordie asked me to be on the show. My manager Pete Cott blocked it and shuttered it down, and I was still there, people. So to be sat in, you know, to be watching them conduct the show, you know, knowing that there was a spot for me on the thing, being in another room listening to this, barely being able to watch the Arsenal game, it left a sour taste in my mouth, really and truly. I would say that. One of my last actual tasks, you know, ironically, I went to the Spurs stadium. We was doing a shoot, obviously, like I said, production assistant, you do shoots. Doing a shoot on behalf of a client, actually, am I actually allowed to speak about this? The client was Spurs, which I don't get why we had to buy props and shirts and stuff. Spurs, like Daniel Levy's very stingy, really and truly, you know, it's a Spurs shoot, but you're making the man then buy the Spurs shirts to use for your own shoot. I respect it, but it's a bit mad. But anyways, I went to the Spurs store. You can understand as an Arsenal fan how that's frustrating. Anyways, it's right next to my gaff. We're doing the shoot now, and it's all coming back to me. I had to go to Sports Direct just off Lansdowne Road as well, the Tottenham ground. So I've gone to the Tottenham gate. The first plan was to buy some shirts. You know, I believe at the time, this was to, bearing in mind, this is now when the new shirts are coming out. So the old shirts are being, you know, sailed off and they're not being there. We needed to buy 3 of the old shirts in the medium and the large, right? And I think we needed to get a golf ball from Sports Direct, a golf ball, a glove, not a golf glove, just a pair of gloves. Just some couple other random bits and pieces like that in it to go obviously as the props. Now while this was frustrating for me, like I said, going to the Spurs store, but I'm getting there now, and one of the ladies, bless her, that I worked with, yeah, she's asked me to like call her when I get there. I've called her. She's asking me questions I can't answer. She's asking me questions only that Donny Dare can answer. And it's like, my phone is here. I'm like, we're talking and we're on loud and we're both looking at each other. I said, brother, take my phone, car. There's nothing I can do. Man don't work here. Man know the shirts that I need and whatnot, but I'm not there. She's there asking me if I can do this and that. I got frustrated. Like, I can't lie, the blackness came out in me after a while from the working place. I said, listen, I don't know what you're on, but you need to chat to this man, and if he can help you, so be it. Go on, eventually the stuff ain't there, we get some replacements. I think I even bought a couple of footballs. Get to my yard now with it after going to Sports Direct and getting the rest of it. Oh, DG, we don't need it anymore, you can bring it back. You think I brought back the golf balls? Myth, man, I might think that now. But the rest, yeah, that was frustrating. There was plenty of frustrating ones. Walking all up and down Oxford Circus, going into all different shops, trying to find whole heap of random shit. You know, going to Oxford Circus, going to this place, going to that place in a day, and then coming back, lagering through Central and up and down Central to Tottenham Court Road with a thing on my bag. Like, I used to think to myself, I'm gonna quit. I hate this shit. I'm better than this shit. You know, and for a good year, that persisted with man, you know, So there was enough frustrating shifts. One frustrating shift as well, in Camden, was in Sainsbury's, was mad frustrated again, missing Arsenal. And this has always happened. I don't know if it's God or the universe, but anytime I've been frustrated or been on the thing, you know, and you lot that watch me will quote this, you know, I've met some of you while I'm working, when I've gone Sainsbury's or I'm working down the street. Half the time I've been frustrated walking down, and then someone be like, "Hey, Deluded, we'll have a little talk," and I'm like, "Oh shit, boom, boom, boom." But there was mad frustrating things, man. Frustrated all the time, bro. Frustrated all the time, and not gonna lie, now that I left, it's calm. Like, there was things I liked, but there was more of not things I hated. Like, that told me something I never want to do again. Like, I never want to do several things. In the last year, I swallowed my pride. I did things a different way. I'm doing it my way now, really and truly. So bare frustrating things, my guy. Not frustrating things, man. Bare frustrating. You're bringing it all the memories back, really. Sent all over London to get a certain sort of ribbon. One of my first ever shifts. Went to Wembley to go and get, again, props. Get the England shirts. I bet, again, bearing in mind, I've gone there at like 3. It's all touching 4 now. I'm saying to them, they said, can you bring them back? I said, I'm not bringing them back. I'll take these shirts to my yard from Wembley to North London and go yard. I'm not coming, sorry, but, and I'm smart. One thing, I've been street smart. I made sure to take my shit with me. I'm not going back. I'm not going from Tottenham Court Road to Wembley, back to Tottenham Court Road and to my yard. Them things there don't work. They were the frustrating things. That's why I'm going to my yard, you know. That's one thing I learned in life. Well, I've always known, but I tried to be the guy that, you know, took everything in its stride. But after a while, I had to put my foot down and say, I'm doing certain things, you know, anything that's in my remit, I'm doing. But I'm not doing anything past you lot, because you lot don't care about, man. Truthfully, the day I decided to quit and the day I decided that this is not it, Wiz when I was meant to be on True Geordie's show, and he cop blocked that, and that told me everything, you know. That told me everything. That day, you know, because it all got plucked out, you know. Bearing in mind, it's a 2-day period. The day before, I've gone to True Geordie's flat to pattern some stuff, and he's been there. By chance, we started talking like properly. He said, "Come true." I couldn't believe it, you know. That's when I thought Brian was gonna be like, have a superstar attitude. He really hasn't forgotten who he is. He's a very nice guy. So that day is gone. You know, the next day is the same day as the United versus Arsenal thing. So for me, I'm going straight from work. I'm going there, innit? My man's pulled me aside and given me all bullshit reasons as to why I can't be on it. You still need to integrate. You need to do. From there, I clocked it. I was like, you've told me what I've known, innit? You might like, man, but you don't like my thing. You like your own thing. And my manager, because it's content creation, he would come out with a lot of blind promises unprovoked. Like, we can do this. You can use the studio for this. It used to annoy me, people. So that was the day I decided to honestly get out of there, you know. Really decided. That was actually when someone asked me to make a cup of coffee, you know. I was like, nah, I've got nothing wrong with this, but it's like, I'm not learning nothing here, really. It's time to keep it moving. But I've spent enough time on that question, because you're bringing back a lot of memories, my guy, man. A lot of memories. Moving forward, though, Mr. Adlib has said, I know nobody really knows the real reason, but why Ozil has been forced out. But if you had to speculate into the reason, why would you say? You've also said, have you finished Arsene Wenger's book? If so, what do you think of any highlights? Looking forward to your book review. That's coming out next week. I've been a bit behind in my reading. I'm just over halfway through. Life has taken a turn. You know, I've had to do some things, but I'll be back on that. don't want to ruin anything. So far, it hasn't been anything I haven't known already or he hasn't spoken about. Bit of an anticlimax. But in relation to Ozil, I don't know. I think it's a mixture of how he carries himself in relation to the backroom staff. You know, the fact of he's been underperforming for a couple of years. You know, the fact of, you know, they don't like the way he speaks and whatnot. And his wages, I don't think it's one single reason. I think it's a cocktail of reasons. But I do think the ones primary pushing it are the board. But we'll never know. Can't pronounce your name, my guy. But Anshuman has said, thoughts on Saliba not being registered for the Europa League squad is sad because he could have got some minutes and some experience in this, really and truly. Kenneth said, do you think Arteta will ever be a coach to play expansive football regardless of the quality of players at his proposal? I think so, but again, he hasn't done anything to suggest that, so the question mark still remains. I think so, though. Omer said, what do you think is to blame for the decline of football in recent years? I'd say for me, forgetting what, you know, I think football has gone a bit too statistically, and we don't know what you're looking for in statistics. Like, statistics in isolation don't tell you a story. It all depends what conclusion you're trying to draw. And I do think with the way the game has evolved, I don't think certain qualities like individual brilliance are necessarily praised. I think a lot of footballers are robots, and I think previously you had, and some players are still there, you've got the athleticism and the technical ability. I think more often than not, many players in today's day and age either have one or the other. And I feel the game's gone a bit mad. Like, before we're talking about a goalkeeper, don't get twisted, you have to be able to play it from the back, but we're talking about his feet before his hands. Do you get it? Defenders, can he play a ball before he can defend? We don't know what we're looking for. And I do think, while I like the fact of multifunctional footballers, I feel a lot of footballers are capable to play in a lot of roles, but not really thriving in some. Like, there's man that can play on either flank as well as up front. We don't know what formation, what position they are. You know, a lot of you are Arsenal fans that listen to me. A lot of fans that watch this thing are fans of other clubs. I'm sure you've all got your own club's example in there, or an example, and there's all different reasons. We don't know what they are. So, do you get it, people? There's not really real specialists, in my opinion, widespread. CFC Georgia said, what's your thoughts on Tino Ajurin? Big player, technical qualities, physical qualities to match. Think he has a future at Chelsea, and you know, the only thing that goes against him is the opportunity. There's a lot of people within the role he plays, but baller. Fizzy said, are you a Prime Prat? I'm going to assume that's not an insult and you're talking about Amazon Prime. Yeah, man, I'm always on Amazon Prime, man. I've firmly got the drug. Frederick has said, it seems like a lot of players who had problems at Arsenal in the last recent years have a similar story. The likes of Ozil, Mustafi, Xhaka and maybe Kolar all grew up as foreigners in their country. Do you think there's a reason for that, or is it just a coincidence, or do you think these players get less sympathy from fans and media? Widespread, foreign players do get a lot of less sympathy, not just necessarily in relation to Arsenal. In relation to, is it because of their nationality? I don't think so. Kolasinac and Mustafi's got nothing to do with their country, just inconsistent ballers. Xhaka is scapegoated, and again, I don't think anything is to do with Xhaka's country. Ozil, you know, he gets a lot of things playing for his national team. There's a lot of political things, but I don't think it's anything to do with racism. And you know me, or you don't know me. If it's racism, I'm never scared to say it for what it is, but I just think it's inconsistencies with these players. So yeah, man, it is what it is. It really is what it is. On that note, though, you've also said, and this is a long one, please can we keep the questions kind of concise? You said, I feel like the most of the error-prone players, not just at Arsenal, are usually the ones who save other players from making costly errors. For example, Gabriel misplaces a pass and Luiz wins it back, but maybe less so often the other way around. So the mistakes of Luiz would be more costly. Also, when trying to undo a teammate's mistake, the player is in a more dangerous position to concede a foul or a penalty. I don't think that. I think Luiz has made mistakes because Luiz has made mistakes. You know, if Gabriel makes mistakes, they're in isolation. Every player makes mistakes. You know, the best players minimise these mistakes. I don't think it's nothing to do with that. I just think man make mistakes because they make mistakes, really and truly, my guy. So that tells you all that you need to know on that one. Just moving forward to the questions asked of myself via Twitter from you guys. Apologies. Trying to get Curtis on the live stream, but I don't know if he's on it, man. He might be busy still. Let me go on Q&A questions. Apologies, people. I normally DM myself to tweet. Q&A questions, Deluded Gooner 04. I have to search it in the search bar. Let's go. And big up everyone who's listened to the deadlines, people, man, because you got to give me something to work with. Thomas said, we've tried Lacazette up top, we've tried Nketiah up front, we've even tried Willian up top. Arteta clearly has a reluctance to play Aubameyang down the middle. So is our solution to our striker problem to play Medina ahead of the rest? For those who don't know, she's a very goal hungry striker that plays for our females team. Why not? You know, why not? Why not? At this point, we've probably got more luck with Thierry Henry coming out of retirement than Aubameyang playing through the middle. Lemaka said, with Arteta switching to 4-3-3 in the future, do you see Lacazette getting enough game time? Yeah, because he seems to like Lacazette up front, really. You know, Eddie and Laka, you know, I don't think he has his hat on one per se. So, yeah, and, you know, there's still a striking position through the middle, so I don't think it's affected. Saka is surely going to play left wing most of his games, competing with Willian. Oba is a striker, and Eddie and Gabby are ready to go. Laka will have a fight big time. Can't disagree with anything you've said. Jinx has said, how do Arsenal get rid of their inferior complex? How do Arsenal get rid of their inferior complex against better opposition? First and foremost, football is a game of believing in. I think we can have all the all the psychological people that come in and try help. The players can listen to the manager all they want, but the players have got to take it upon themselves. The players have got to have the mental ability, you know, the mental capacity. So I would say the players have got to fix it up, man, really, because you look at teams below us, they make more of a meal of things, and I just feel, definitely looking at the Liverpool game and to a lesser degree the City game, the players accepted defeat before they even kicked the ball, and the players have got to do better in that incident, man. So yeah, man. Sinbin has said, what still needs to change for us to beat a top 6 side? Belief. And actually, you know, we seem to be defending, but we're over defending. Actually believe in yourself, take some shots and have half a goal, man. Really and truly. Each one teach one has said, blessing DG, question for you, love my guy. Another one who's always in the questions and offering nice words and whatnot. Looking at how the season has started, have you changed your opinion on how we'll do this season? You're smashing the content at the moment. Man, I can hardly catch up, keep going. Thank you very much, and I apologise for the fact of you're having a hard time keeping up to date, man, with the content. And like I said, thank you for all your support as well as everybody else's. I can't say my opinion. I assume you're talking in relation to Arsenal, my guy. My opinion ain't really changed because I didn't have much hope. You know, I've got hope on Arteta to turn things around, hope of our boys to make more of a meal of things in relation to the top 4, my dude. But beyond that, don't have much hope because, again, you know, I can't really believe in the team. Gabriel and Partey gives me more of a belief. You know, when you've got Aubameyang, you can do a thing. But I still think we're going to fall short. I still haven't seen anything to convince me that we're going to make more of a meal of the top 4 because we haven't in the Premier League. We don't look at it without opinion. Fulham is the only game I think we've been superb. You know, I think there's been games, there's been positives. Obviously, there's games that in the Prem you're going to just have to dig it out and get away with it. But I'm not really convinced. You know, do I have wholehearted belief to sit here and tell you? Look, I'll tell you, I think we're going to perform better in top 6 games and top 6 games away from home. You know, we're going to be able to keep clean sheets to a better degree, which we kind of have right now. If we're going to be able to shut games out, if we're going to be able to hold on to leads, I don't know if all of these things are possible. And I haven't seen anything to suggest that. I still see a lot of inconsistencies. So in relation to my own opinion on Arsenal falling short of the top 4, as I said at the start of the season, my guy, hope to God I'm wrong. Haven't seen nothing to suggest to change my opinion on such. If there's every reason to, gladly I will, but right now I can't. Alex has said Alwa or Szoboszlai. I'd be happy with either one, but I think we should turn our attention to Szoboszlai now. I still want Alwa, but that one there seems to be gone. I don't think any of these players can be obtained in January, but I think that's what we need to do really and truly. Let me go through the last week's Q&A question video just to see if there is anything, which can't believe there is any because you hardly ask me questions that way. Where is it? There we go, 6 days ago. Shut up. No one wants to hear that, people. Andrew said, what is your starting 11 for the Europa group games? Which young players are getting a chance? Well, it's impossible to say which starting lineup I'm going to go with for all of those games. But young players that get a chance, I feel Ben Cottrell, I feel Balogun, I feel Miguel Aziz are players that I'd be looking at. I like that George Lewis guy since he signed, to be fair. He hasn't really set the world alight at 23's level apart from the Ipswich game. But I think he's a very decent lad. But with that marks the end of the Q&A, people. So it's been a fantastic Q&A, but all good things have to come to an end. On that note, please hit the like button. It doesn't cost a thing. Please make sure you're subscribed. You know, last week will again be one of the last Q&A questions, so questions and answers. So make sure you get your questions in early via the comments of this video, or look out during the week for the community tabs where I ask for your questions, and I also do the same on Twitter. Either way, it's been a pleasure. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend and the rest of your Friday or whenever you're listening to this. But for now, it's been an enjoyable one. DG.